The Withered Roots of Reality is the debut full-length album from ALburnum, a Netherlands-based black metal band, and we could call them a pagan black metal band or a black folk metal duo. And essentially, I talked about their EP when it came out a couple of years ago. I think it's been a couple of years now, and the style of that record was leaning towards something a little bit more folk metal tinged. And on this record, they've fully gone for it. Before I'd referenced bands like Drudk and Winter, and those still apply, but now we're getting into the territories here with this record where if you're a fan of Falkenbach or Horn, there's definitely a little bit of a jaunt. There's a little bit of a focus on the hook here that goes beyond the Winder-esque sounds that they bring in, heavily influenced by albums like 1184 and things like that. So if you like a clip of that, we'll cut to it and just get a sense for their version of it. And then we'll talk about the structure of things, which I think is most important in terms of their review. So while everything about this record is aesthetic and pleasing in both its look and its production values, it's not modest at all in its big personality that it presents up front. But then when it comes time to appreciate these songs and the structure of the songs, we're given a lot of junk food up front. We're giving a lot of very big choruses, we're getting a lot of very big guitar licks, and all of that really is a face value read of what made folk metal and sometimes atmospheric black metal exciting upon induction. This seems like it's very much influenced by those things, and when they became most popular, it's sort of like you listen to an old Take album and you hear a banjo, and that's exciting, but there was more to that song than that banjo lick or the mouth harp or something like that. And so this record goes for those big moments, but then doesn't necessarily pad around it with meaning in terms of song structure that makes sense towards the build. It seems like we are always in service of building towards a chorus, a chorale, or a bigger vocal or guitar moment, and the rest of it doesn't really add up in terms of going from point A to point B. And it's a modern style of composition that I fully understand is more or less the norm for certain types and niches of black metal, but in this case, it feels a little bit more suited for a post-black metal and the way that they create quick and anxietous motif, whereas this album is building something oaken and rooted in tradition in some sense. So it doesn't really match up with the greats that I might have mentioned in referencing their sound, and they don't really reach that deliberate point of statement that a band like Horn or Falkenbach might reach along the way. So this is very much a solid modern take on pagan atmospheric folk and black metal. But I think that when you sit down and really look at the structure of the songs and then see the repetition in the way they built each song, it becomes less impressive as a full length and more as the first shot at a full length, and one that reads very well up front. It has a lot of notable breakout moments. There's a lot of fine musicianship all over this record. It is very well produced and performed in general, and I really like the style of it. But I think the substance was lacking in terms of just building a record that's worth listening to over and over once you've gotten the full sense of what they can do with the catchier hooks and what adds up to those points here and in between. So maybe that's a personal tick and just the way that I analyze songwriting in chunks, but overall, it wasn't perfect, but it was very good as a debut full length, and I think it's worth noting here. So check it out if that's your kind of thing. This came out on July 20th, and it was self-released, so support independent artists as much as you can. If you like more of my thoughts, go ahead and read the review on my website.